And I'm going to be honest. If you guys agree, subscribe. We are trying to get to 60K as soon as possible. I don't think we'll do it anytime soon. But still, the fake playoff run is the worst thing that ever happened to the Indiana Fever. Because it has caused Steph White to double and triple down on when the going gets tough, we're going to abandon what we do well and we're going to put up some bullshit. We're going to put up some bullshit. I've always said it. You are able to win games. Like, you are able to win games by putting up bullshit. You can win games in a playoff series by basically shooting bad shots because they can just go in. These are pro basketball players. You can win games by being tactically outclassed if your players play harder, they make the hustle plays, and they hit shots. What you can't do is win over 40 games or 44 games. That's not going to work. It is straight up not going to work. There's a reason why there's a difference in regular season. In the playoffs, do whatever the fuck you want, Steph. But the Indiana Fever in this game were up by 13 points when they subbed Caitlin Clark out. They're up by 1 when she comes back in. It's then complete shit show. They're down 14 in the fourth, and they get it back to get the lead. And Kelsey Mitchell comes back in, they lose. They literally, Caitlin Clark single-handedly dragged the team back from down 14. They were on a 14-2 run when Kelsey Mitchell comes back in the game. And then what ends up happening is that Kelsey Mitchell has gone back, has reverted to pre-Caitlin Clark Kelsey Mitchell. This is not the Kelsey Mitchell that is this elite off-the-ball player. This is the Kelsey Mitchell that is going to take 17 dribbles before shooting a dumb shot. There are two different Kelsey Mitchells. There are two different Kelseys. Sometimes she's the best off-the-ball player in the league. Other times she is a bad shot maker. And the problem is that Kelsey Mitchell as a bad shot maker for her career has a 25% win rate. And yes, I get it. Kelsey Mitchell as a bad shot maker won them the games of the playoffs. It did. They got lucky. They got so lucky. Like, it is it's one of those things where they use the playoffs as proof that we're good enough to run it back. They were not good enough at the time. I said it. I fucking said it a year ago. This team is not good. This team is not good. This team fluked the playoff run. And everyone was like, oh no, they can run it back. Look, they're going to win a championship. They're going to run it back with Caitlin. Look, they nearly made the finals without Caitlin. They're going to be better with Caitlin. No. They fluked a playoff run. They fluked it. The Mystics choked. And the Aces, for whatever reason, like, the Aces weren't good till the finals last year. Unbelievable in the finals. Give credit where credit's due. They were great in the finals. But, like, the Aces got, like, the Storm got choked against the Aces. Like, the Storm had won the game, and Neko Wumake decided that rebounding was optional, and basically almost celebrated too early and let Jackie Young get a putback. And Skylar Diggins shit herself and missed Dominique Malonga wide open under the basket. The Fever have the worst bench in the league, and that's not an exaggeration. Like, who are the worst team in the league? Who are the worst team in the league? Is probably the Connecticut Sun. And we're going to look bench for bench. Anissa Morrow versus anyone on the Fever bench. Anissa Morrow's better. Reagan Beers versus Damiris Dantas as backup center. Reagan Beers is better. Nell Angloma versus anyone on the Fever bench. Nell Angloma's better. Sanaya Rivers versus anyone on the Fever bench. Sanaya Rivers is better. Charlie Ledger Walker versus the backup point guards. Cool. Indiana Fever have better backup point guards. The Connecticut Sun's bench just went toe-to-toe and got the better of the Aces. And that's not taking into account that on their bench as well is when they're all healthy. is Kennedy Burke probably, and HVL. HVL might be better than Taurasi. This is the worst team in the league. Bench for bench. They have, I mean this when I say this, they have 2 players on their bench that are better, 3 players on their bench that are better than any Fever player on their bench. Sanaya Rivers, Nell Angloma, and Nisa Moore are better than everyone on the Fever's bench. And Reagan Beers is better than that. And by the way, when I say firing Stephanie White won't change it. It's a front office problem. This is a front office problem. Like, this is an Amber Cox problem. This is a Kelly Krauskopf problem. The team is... They decided that in the offseason, they're like, oh, it's really hard because we only had a certain amount of time. Why the fuck were they not in Prague watching KK? Why were they not looking in Spain, seeing who's doing well? Why were they not in Prague watching KK? Because if you're in Prague watching KK, maybe you see that Pauline Astier is killing it as the starting point guard. Maybe you bring her in instead of Ty Harris. Because she's fucking killing it in Europe. Maybe you bring in Emma Chikova, get well soon, Emma Chikova. Maybe you bring in her because she's playing over your rookie. Your rookie's playing no minutes. Why don't you go to fucking France to watch whoever's playing in France? To see who's playing well with Lacan? And why are you not going to places like Hungary? I understand maybe not going to Russia. But there are situations where you had an entire offseason. And the worst part is that because the Fever were like, oh, we had a condensed offseason. It was kind of hard. Well, yeah, only for American players that want to stay in America to talk to. Ironically, your condensed offseason, you were sitting on your ass doing nothing when you should have been traveling the fucking world. You should have been traveling the world. That was what you had the opportunity to do. With the fact that no one knew what was going on in the league, you had the opportunity to travel the fucking world and make relationships with players. But no, you doubled down and said, oh no, we're good enough to win a title. No, you're not. This is a terrible team. This is a terrible team who has the best point guard in the league. If you consider A'ja Wilson a power forward, has the best center in the league. And has Kelsey Mitchell, who on her day is one of the best 2 guys in the league. This is a team who has 3 of the best players. Monique Billings does not start... Monique Billings does not start for a single WNBA team. And why? And how do I know that? Because Monique Billings in 2024 was waived. She was cut by her team. She was cut. And then was a hardship player. And the Valks made no effort. You signed Monique Billings to a way above market contract because the only scouting you did was watching Caitlin Clark play in Puerto Rico and Monique Billings looked good against Senegal. Who, by the way, Senegal might lose to Ireland. Ireland might beat Senegal. They fucking lost to Senegal. It's the only scouting you did. So you ended up with Mo Billings. Then you just signed a bunch of undersized guards from Indiana. And why the fuck is Shatori Walker-Kimbrough on this team? Why? Nothing against Shatori Walker-Kimbrough. This team needs bigs. Why the fuck do you have a 30-year-old, 5'9" guard? 31-year-old in 2 days. Happy birthday. I'm sorry for picking you out. But a 31-year-old, 5'9" guard when this team needs size and you currently do not have a healthy center on the fucking roster other than Damiris Dantas, who is the worst player in the league. Who was the worst player in the league last year? Who is the worst defender in the league? Is the direct cause for 5 team turnovers a game. Can't catch the ball. Can't really do anything other than shoot, which he's not even very good at. This team is not a championship team. How the fuck did you downgrade from Natasha Howard and Bree Turner? How did you downgrade from Sid Colson as a backup point guard? This team's worse. This team's worse. I don't get it. I just don't get it. This team's somehow worse on paper than last year. You have a big 3 and you have a team in a league where every team got better. Why did they all get better? Because they recruited overseas. They were smart. They did stuff in free agency. But no, you had to double and triple down on your team from last year because you felt like it was good enough to win a title when it wasn't. The Indiana Fever were the 9th best team in the WNBA last year. They only made the playoffs because Kelsey Mitchell went fucking Super Saiyan for 10 games to end the year. If Odyssey Sims did not hit that game winner, the Indiana Fever were below 500 and out of the playoffs coming down the stretch. If Kelsey Mitchell didn't have her Super Saiyan game against Connecticut, they were going to go below 500. Kelsey Mitchell going Super Saiyan is the only reason they made the playoffs. And they played against a bunch of teams that choked while the Indiana Fever stayed together. They literally nearly got to the finals on the power of friendship. Because, nobody was good last year. And now, these teams are better. The Indiana Fever have gone with a roster that is old, slow, small, can't shoot, can't defend. You have a big three. What do you do? You inherited the best big three in the league. And as a front office, all you have done is give away the number 8 pick, so you had cap space to give Dwana Bonner a max. Everyone's talking about the Valks. The Fever did that last year, by the way. The Fever gave up the number 8 pick last year. The only reason wasn't a bigger deal, is because people think that it was because of Sophie Cunningham. And it was before the draft. No, it wasn't. They could have got Sophie Cunningham with Alyssa Smith. They gave up the 8th pick and traded the 8th pick for pick 19 because they didn't want to take a first round pick. They didn't want a draft pick. This is a dog shit front office who got lucky and complacent after last year. Who got lucky and complacent. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that.